Yo, what's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to Prison Break Raw, brought to you by Stand for Something Life Incorporated. I'm your host, the one and only JD Rutherford, putting skinny pants gangsters on notice, bringing it to you all up in your face and slapping you with some straight sausage of reality. Go ahead and give this channel a subscribe, a like, a thumbs up, leave some comments, messages. I read all of them. You want to go ahead and get your troll on, get your troll on. That shit tickles me pink. It makes me laugh. Some of you internet soldiers are really got a vivid imagination, some of you. So go ahead, get busy, get with it. Go ahead, get into this. We're gonna continue and pick up where we left off, talking about you funny style ass people that think you're on that G time and you're really not. You're heading for prison in a real bad way, in a time that the system is so packed with so many people all over the place that shit just really ain't cool anymore. And in a lot of places, they're still tough on crime. It's just like, unless you go into the federal prison system and they're doing that First Step Act or whatever it is, hasn't really taken any effect. And especially like in California, the way they had changed them laws, you could be stuck up in the county jail for years, man. And stuck up in the LA County Jail, Orange County Jail, Sacramento, Ventura County, Riverside County, West Valley, whatever county jail, San Diego County Jail. It's, man, I couldn't even see myself doing longer than a year in any of them places. Longest I ever sat in a county jail was about a little bit over a year, fighting a case, fighting a pretty good hot one, and ended up just finally pleading guilty and going upstate. Um, like I said before on the last one, that we was gonna clown some celebrity snowflakes that talk about they on that G time, walking around, throwing up all their whatever, acting all tough and bad when they're just a bunch of entertainers. But some of you just don't seem to see that, and you're so mesmerized by it, and you want to imitate them, you want to be like them so bad that you're willing to go to any lengths to get there. And hopefully I can stop some of that by clowning some of these lames and exposing them for what they really are and who they really are. And we're gonna go ahead and start with Snowflake's Gone Wild, the Snowflake of the Week, Cardi B. So I'm sure you all heard about it. It's been in all the news. It's all over social media. Everywhere you look, that Cardi B got herself into some shit. She got herself in a little bit of trouble, and now she might be sweating it a little bit. Her career might end up getting put on hold. Who knows? We'll see. She might invoke that green privilege, that celebrity status, and get out of it. It's possible. It happens. But the reality of it is originally she was offered a little bit of time, a little bit of misdemeanor shit. Misdemeanor shit. I mean, wino time, if any time at all. Might have been just been some informal probation, do a couple of classes, sweep the street a little bit, and then she'd have been done. But this jackass decides that she's not going to take that. She sticks her hand up to the judge like, I'm Cardi B. I'm a celebrity. I'm this and I'm that. And fucking, they weren't impressed with that shit. Once you get locked in that system, all bets are off, man. They don't give a fuck who you are. Even Martha Stewart couldn't get herself out of some shit. We won't really get into her because to me, Martha Stewart's a real gangster, but a lot more than Cardi B. But that's another story. We ain't gonna get into that shit. So instead of taking the little misdemeanor wino time that she probably never would have even done a moment in jail on, she decided to push past that, and now they're slapping her with a bunch of felonies to the grand jury. Now there really might be a problem for her, and I mean, to me personally, I hope they slap the fucking book at her ass. I hope they lock her ass up in one of the worst prisons in whatever state that she's in. Was it New York? I hope they put her in the female version of Rikers Island, because that's what it takes for some of you to see your role models, your stupid ass role models at that. That once they get put in these situations, like their true colors come out, you start to see they start crying. I mean, it's like her herself. She's getting on there, what? I think it was on, I don't know, Twitter, Instagram. I can't go to jail. I got a daughter. Well, you know what? Join the fucking boat, man. Because there are fucking thousands of women all across this country sitting up on them cell blocks and wherever they're at, Chowchilla, whatnot, who are mothers too, who left their children behind because they thought they were going to do something, or they got caught up in the game, or they got locked in by some dude who basically took advantage of them and had them take the beef for him on some case because he was too much of a weenie to take his own charge. It happens. There's a lot of them up in there. And that's the moral of this show right here, is to basically talk to you about her and how fake she is. And now that she's got this charge on her, it's kind of easy to break it down a little bit, because we can go through the motions of a little bit of the highlights of her career. You've seen her on TV. She talks all stupid and looks really hella ridiculous to me. I mean, I feel awkward just listening to her talk because she sounds just straight. Not gonna go there, but um, I do remember this one. She was talking about how she was a blood, and there was some bloods out on the West Coast that didn't like that, and had to put her in her place. She got put in her place real fast, and then it goes on to how she was talking about how she used to take dudes up in the motel room and jack them when she was running in the streets and doing all that stuff like that. And no, you wasn't. You wasn't doing nothing like that. It's just all part of the act, man. It's all part of that Hollywood bullshit that you guys just get stuck on and get drawn into. Because I got to tell you, if she was robbing some people, she was robbing some real lames. And she must have robbed some people that weren't really trying to call the cops. And I got to tell you, man, if you got some kind of trick or something like that, if they're just a square, regular person, most of the time they're going to call the cops on you. I know a lot of girls that used to do that shit. And a lot of them, when we were robbing people and doing all that, I knew some girls that would take them tricks and rob them, and they got caught every single time because somebody was dropping dime on them. Somebody picked up that phone, dialed 911, said she's in room 113, and boom, kicked the door open. And next thing you know, she's up in Chowchilla with a robbery and assault with a deadly weapon and everything else on her. Got a couple of homegirls that are doing that very thing right there. So she'd be in good company if she was to really do some dirt like that, and it might come out in the wash right now. Who knows? Maybe somebody might pull a I got jacked, me too type of a thing, and put her on blast and add that shit to the charges. This shit could snowball real fast for the Snowflake, and it's sad, but it's funny at the same time. I just sit back and watch it. But then again, like I said, in the grand and when all's said and done, she's probably going to end up going to some PC prison. Should be right there next to that troll doll looking Boy George turned wannabe gangster fucking Takashi 6ix9ine, or like Ti when he was in PC because he told on all his people for them guns, and all the rest of these celebs that are in there, and they're just singing, man. They're singing like American Idol to get some of them charges knocked off, and she ain't no different. So if there's anybody out there that's been running around in her circle, that's been up to no good, willing and dealing on the side, you might want to be worried a little bit. You might want to go take your ass to the Bahamas or Dominican Republic or even to Switzerland. They don't extradite from there. You'd be over there with what's that one guy's name? That Roman Polanski. Go kick it with him for a little while because he's running for being a chomo and he's still up over there in Switzerland. You might be able to stay at his house because he's probably going to tell on somebody if she thinks that she's really going to get some time and that all that celebrity shit, because she's really not even that much of a celebrity. She's in that B class bracket of celebrities. She's the one that she made it and she got money, but the rest of the celebrities are just not really feeling her and don't like her. Music personalities and TV personalities and athletes and stuff, they're not really on that upper block. The people like the Martha Stewarts and several other people that got themselves out of doing some real time. So she might be in a little bit of trouble. She might realize that fame ain't going to get her nowhere. And hopefully a lot of you women out there that are watching this or are going to be watching that will see all this. Just take notice to it. Just follow it closely and see what happens. If she does get some time and she does go to jail, just watch her break down and watch people start falling like dominoes. Because the one thing detectives love to hear is a woman crying about how they've got kids. They will use that against you to the fullest. You'll tell on Pablo Escobar if they threaten you that they're going to take your kids. Some of these women will basically draw a roadmap to where Jimmy Hoffa's buried if it means they're going to lose their kids, because they're not thinking about this shit when they're running up in the streets, when they're doing all this stuff with their man. They're so caught up and they're so dick whipped by this dude because he's, big dick daddy or whatever he is. He's got some kind of game. He put him under some kind of spell. And next thing you know, they don't give a fuck about their kids. Their kids don't mean anything at that point until the minute them cuffs get slapped on, you sitting in the back of a squad car and your mascara is all leaking down and you're crying, oh. Next thing you know, now your kids matter to you all of a sudden. These detectives know this shit. I'm a fucking person from the streets. If I know that shit, then these people know it for sure. So it really comes down to this, right? If you're running in this game and you're running with a dude like that and you're mesmerized on his little sister's pants that he's wearing, and he's got all these chains and everything on himself, and he's talking about how he's all gangstered out and you're just stuck like fucking Chuck on his ass. Think about this for a second. When this dude gets busted, right? And he's going to get busted at some point in time. Anytime anybody's doing anything, they're going to get popped. It's inevitable. Everybody gets caught, man. Especially in this day and age with all these cameras and these camera phones and everything going on and people telling. I mean, the mentality that a lot of you got in this millennial generation out, what you think is gangster, is getting off first. As a matter of fact, I witnessed that in Randall County Jail in Texas. I was waiting to be extradited. Federal marshals were coming to pick me up to take me to Oklahoma to be tried for my bank robbery. I got these two kids sitting behind me. His kid's like, yeah, man, that fool fucking, snitched on me and got me put in here. But you know what I did? He gonna put me in here. I put him in here with me. Snitches on me. I got him right back. Now he's in here with me. And his buddy was like, yeah, that's some gangster shit. Gangster shit? Really? So, but apparently that's where it's at. Getting off first. Funny thing, man. Getting off first. I started hearing that about around the turn of the century, around 2003, 2004. And it's amazing, that some people think that shit works. Because if you're caught up in a big ass case, it's not gonna do nothing for you. And then if you're that girl that's thinking you're gonna get your kids back by getting off, you're probably gonna lose your kids anyways. They're gonna use that. They're gonna get the information. They're gonna make you sign that statement, and then they're gonna still take your kids because they're gonna look at it like you ain't fit. With all the shit that you were doing, running around and God knows what. So for her to say that, oh, she invokes her child. Now she's using her kid as a shield, man. Oh, don't lock me up. I'm a mother. It's like I said, there's thousands of mothers all across this country sitting up in these women's prisons that did the same thing that didn't work for them. It's really kind of like an eye opener, or it should be for some of you to see this, that these are your role models. They're not real. Their lives aren't really like that. They got all these nice things and they're 10 seconds of fame right now. But when the shit hits the fan or when things start snowballing on them, then they lose a lot of that. So it would behoove of a lot of you to find some different role models. I mean, fuck, you wanna follow a singer and idolize them? Find an opera singer or something. Somebody that's like not gonna get themselves caught up in a bar fight, or somebody that's running around talking like there's something that they're not. Because it's just in the end, what's gonna happen with you is this dude's gonna get you caught up and you're gonna be sitting there in that chair and the detectives are gonna be telling you, what about your kids? You're gonna be crying, yeah, I don't want to leave my kids. And it's you're gonna either tell on dude, you're gonna hold your mud, or that dude is gonna tell you to take the rap for him. And for me, in the world that I come from, you're really a weak motherfucker if you got to make your girl take your beef for you. It's supposed to be the other way around. But like I said, dudes got it twisted nowadays, using all you women for all these different endeavors that they're doing, and they get you in the mix of it. Get out of that, right? Find some healthier role models, because here's what you're in store for when you go to the women's prison. Guess what? They got politics too. It's just what it is. You're gonna go up in there, and even if you think, well, ain't no sweat for me. I like flipping both ways. I like being with girls too. That don't mean shit in there. That's the least of it that you got to deal with. You got to deal with women that are gonna want to take your shit. You got to deal with women that basically ain't gonna like you, because maybe the girl they're looking at is looking at you. Now you're in some real fucking trouble. You're gonna get your ass beat into next Tuesday. And you might not even look the same. You might get a busted nose and end up having your nose crooked, or a knocked out tooth, or maybe an eyeball poked out, or one of these girls gonna come up and mark up your face with a razor blade. It shit happens in there. And if that ain't bad enough, it's filthy, foul, and dirty in these women's prisons. I've talked to some correctional officers that have worked in there, couldn't wait to get out of working in these places because they were just so nasty, they said. So, and then you got them correctional officers that may think you're a little sweet, and before you know it, he's pulling your pants down, and he's getting his, and he's threatening you with all kinds of planting shit on you, or you better not say nothing, and you better take this, and better deal with it. Women, they get raped like that in these prisons by these male guards all the time, and it may be some big old fat, sloppy, nasty Billy Bob Bodine looking guy who you wouldn't even look at twice walking down the street. Now this dude, I mean, he's getting at you, and there's nothing you could do about it. You could report him, but it's your word against his. So these are some things you got to think about. Um, the one thing that I would suggest to basically use that empowerment, like, because a lot of you women don't realize just how strong you really are, how much superior you are with your intuition and your gift of insight. And I used to rely on a lot of my homegirls all the time. Hey, baby, what's up with this dude right here, man? This dude seems a little shady. Is he shady? Yeah, he's shady, JD. Okay, we're not gonna fuck with him. Next thing you know, we find out this fool was a cop, or he was a snitch. I learned that a long time ago, and I stick with it. But the one thing that I never did is, like, when I was rolling with a hyena, and I told him straight up, okay, this is what's gonna happen. There's gonna be people getting shot. There's gonna be bullets ringing out. There's gonna be people getting jacked. There's gonna be all kinds of bad stuff going on. Are you ready for this? Are you ready to risk it all? You might even end up getting killed. We might both get killed. Are you down with that? 100%. That means if they throw your kids at you and try to get you to talk, are you willing to leave that behind? Most of the time they say yeah, but some of the times it makes them think. And I was never a shitty dude that would involve them without basically breaking down the disclaimer that I have to give you. We're going on a fucking sick one right now. And the sick one ain't gonna stop until we're surrounded by cops. So what are you really gonna do? And that's what you gotta be aware of, is if this dude is gonna tell you what you're in store for. Because all you see is the flash. You see, he's wearing his, funny pants, and he's flashing all this money, and he's, looking like he's the man in front of all his boys. He's taking you up in these clubs and everything. But that shit only lasts for a little while. And you're being used. It's just like, you don't mean nothing to him, really. You're just the freak of the week in the eyes of a lot of these guys. And sometimes these guys will lure you in, and they'll get you to start turning tricks, and they'll get you to start selling that ass. And then you'll be caught up with a sex charge, because let me tell you this, what you're in store for if that happens. So now if you become a sex worker, you're basically selling your ass for this dude because you think he loves you, and you think that's the only way that you guys are going to get by because you fell on hard times. Well, guess what? Not only do you get locked up in the system, but now you got to register as a sex offender. Isn't that like a double whammy? And he might have to register as a sex offender for being a pimp if he's implicated in it. But if not, if he skates through and he's looking at you from the audience in the courtroom, waving at you, saying like, yeah, I'm going to put some money on your books, don't count on it, because he's going to move on to the next one. And the best piece of advice that I can give you is stop looking at these celebrities as role models. Let them entertain you with their music. Let them, make you laugh and make you feel emotions or something when they hit a real solid point on you. They push that one trigger that just makes you think, and that's it. That's it. Because if you're trying to like imitate them in your life and you're trying to act like them and go in the direction they did, if like you're thinking, well, she did it, I could do it, and then you end up stuck in that, you could be in a bar fight and be looking at some real time and lose your kids and lose everything and spending like hundreds of thousands of dollars to get your shit out of it, and you may even entertain the thought of telling on somebody. So look yourself in the mirror and say that I'm gonna be an individual. I talk a lot about that individuality. I use that convict code as far as etiquette out here. And I know that in prison, you're more stuck in that collectiveness, but it's for convenience and necessity, like I said. But once you out here, you don't have to answer to nobody. No man basically has to tell you anything. No man has to make you feel any kind of way that means that you're willing to risk it all to get locked up for this lame. You could basically use your power, the power that you already possess, because in the grand scheme of it, a lot of these dudes do everything for the women, the power, the money. You hear it all the time. You have more power than you think. Don't relinquish that shit to any of these dudes. And don't get caught up in any of this bullshit they're trying to get you caught up in, because you're going to be heading towards prison. And when you get there, it's not what you think it's going to be. It's not like orange is the new black in every single place. So think about this. Think about what I'm really telling you. And think about just how fake these people are. Sit back and watch the show when it comes to her. If she gets some time, watch her reaction and watch what happens next. Like I said, a lot of these dudes better leave town, because if she knows anything, she's gonna snitch. Getting off. Like, it's not called snitching anymore. It's called getting off. So she might end up getting off. But you can get off this time and lose them kind of dudes. Basically make better choices. Think outside the box when it comes to these men. I mean, I got a lot of female friends I see on social media that are crying over some dude talking about, he's their king and all these things, and he ain't a king, ain't even a prince, more like a fucking peasant in a lot of these cases. So just look past the bullshit. Look past the bullshit of your role models. Find somebody that's like somebody that plays tennis or something as a role model. Get away from all this shit. Stop believing everything Hollywood says and having them control your thinking and all. And seize control of your individuality. Become a free thinker. Set some real goals. Um, be a mother that your kids can be proud of. Because I'm going to tell you, you're going to spend a lot of time. You're going to waste a lot of time. You might lose your kids and then get them back. Lose them and get them back. But the one thing that you'll always lose is you're always going to lose those moments with them kids, and you're always going to lose that trust with those kids. They're always going to remember that shit. They're always going to remember how you chose this weenie over them. And they're never going to let you forget about it. They may never say nothing to you, but they're never going to let you forget about it with the look in their eyes. So look into your children's eyes if you have them, or if you don't have them. Look into your parents' eyes. Look at your own eyes in the mirror and basically say that I'm a strong woman, that I don't need any of these negative influences to basically guide me, that I'm going to stand up and I'm going to seize control of my own destiny. I'm going to make my own way. These are some words of advice, some words of wisdom from a real street gangster who really lived that life and who was really about that business, telling you from experience. I've seen a lot of women like you that think that they could do it and get away with it. But you can't run forever. See you on the next episode.